We'll start in a couple of minutes. Okay. So in the previous class we discussed about the different types of agents of the pollination we started. We also discussed about what are the factors that are going to help in the cross pollination. What is the difference between hericogamy and homogamy? Hericogamy, homogamy. The ability to remember these terms shows also your imaginative nature. Okay, because what happens is a lot of terms are there, you have to memorize them. So how you are using your imagination to remember, that is also important. Okay, firstly one should have the interest to remember, that is important. So hericogamy, okay, hericogamy, homogamy. Okay, herico, who is going to answer? Okay, so if you look at directly, suddenly if you come across the terms, it is very difficult to recollect. Okay, so you have to break down the term and try to remember. Herico, what it sounds like?
So different, like separate.
Hero, hero is there something like hero, no? Hiroko gami. So you can break it something, use your imagination to remember the things. So you have to take interest. Hero, okay, for example, hero is going to block any problem, any effect is coming from the villain side or anyone who is attacking, the hero will block it. Okay, something like that. You have to think in a bit different, so that you can remember easily. Okay, hero ko that means something blocking mechanical barrier effect is there. So hericogamy, in this one there will be a barrier between the androecium and gynoecium. Okay, so that the pollen cannot get transfer, pollination cannot take place. And homogamy, homo means the same here, both of them are going to mature at the same time, androecium and gynoecium are going to mature at the same time. Okay, so agents of pollination, we discussed about the wind and insect pollination. A flower is very dull, small, producing a lot of pollen. So what may be the probable pollinating agent for that flower?
Wind.
Wind.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wind will be there. So therefore, the type of pollination we will observe there will be called as anemophily or anemophilous flower. It is a anemophilous flower. So we already saw about the insect, that is entomophilous flower, and anemophilous flower, that is wind pollination. Today we will be seeing about the water, the pollinating agent, if it is a water, that is a hydrophilus. Water pollination, that is the hydrophilus. So here what is going to happen is, it is generally obviously found in the aquatic plants, and the pollen grains are produced in large numbers. Either it is wind or it is water, pollen has to be produced in large amounts. In some plants the pollen grains have a specific gravity almost equal to that of water, so that they remain floating below the surface of the water. Suppose if the specific gravity of a substance is more than water, whether it will float or it will sink. What is the meaning of specific gravity? Can you tell an alternative term for that?
So relative density.
Density. Okay, it is a density. But here, since it is given as a specific gravity, okay, or then you will tell that what is the specific gravity with respect to water. With respect to water. So with respect to water, if the density of that substance is more, obviously it is going to sink. Okay, so these flowers or these pollen grains, they are going to have the specific gravity almost equal to water, so they will remain floating on the surface of the water. In some special cases, the male flower are such that they will float on the surface of the water till they will meet the female flower. For example, in the Vallisneria. So in the figure you can see 5.3, male plant and female plant is shown. Okay, these are common plants, these are not very rare plants. In ponds and all we can see these kind of plants. Okay, Vallisneria, that will be showing the male and female plant. So flowers are on separate plant. This kind of sexuality in plant will be known as male plant, female plant is separate.
So so male and female plants are separate.
Separate, yes. So this is sexuality in the plant. What you will call this type of one?
Yes.
It is the
Heterosexuality.
Is it unisexual? Is it a monoecious or dioecious?
Dioecious.
Dioecious. Dioecious. Male and female will be there on the separate plant, dioecious plant. So you will say Vallisneria is an example of a dioecious plant. Because, okay, so male and female flowers are in separate plant. Okay, switch off your microphone. So next one. So in the water pollination, example is a Vallisneria plant. Okay, so you can see in this figure 5.3 that these small flowers, they will be floating on the water until they will reach the female plant. And in the female plant you can see the female flowers are already floating, they are connected to the plant and they are floating on the water. Okay, so some flowers are pollinated by birds. Okay, that we will see next. So under this one, very important example, repeating question every year almost, is the Vallisneria. Vallisneria. Okay, example is Vallisneria. So that was water pollination. The next one, if it is the pollination is by birds. Okay, the study of these birds is known as ornithology. The pollination by the birds is known as the ornithophily. Okay, whenever we are talking about technical term of the birds, okay, we say ornitho. Okay, ornithology. Okay, that is the people, the branch that is studying with specifically different types of birds and so on. So here Bignonia and Canna, these are the two examples are given for the flowers that are pollinated by birds. So you can go through the different images you will find on the Google. Okay, because we cannot go to the forest in the lockdown to find out what these plants are. Okay, so these are the plants that are being pollinated by the birds. By elephants, the pollination can take place also by elephants. Then it is known as the elephophily. Elephophily. So this is obviously very big animal. It is going to do the pollination for a very big flower. Okay, the flower is here is Rafflesia. Rafflesia is considered to be the largest flower known on earth. Okay, Rafflesia, whose flowers are very large and found at ground level. The pollen grains of one flower get stuck to the feet of the elephants and get carried to the stigma of the another flower. Okay, when they get trampled with their feet. So of course a very large flower will require a very large pollinating agent. Okay, here it is going to be an elephant, it is elephophily. For birds it is ornithophily, example is bignonia and canna. Till now whatever we saw the pollinating agents like the insects, wind, water, bird, elephant, these are all natural pollinating agents. Sometimes the humans themselves may interfere and do the pollination. This is purposefully done when this kind of pollination is done by humans, okay, on purpose, that is artificial pollination. So why would someone want to do the pollination purposefully? Suppose there are the two
Create a better variety.
to create a better variety. Okay, so this is a kind of technology that is being used from very ancient time. Okay, where people had that sense, they knew. Okay, so that if you have different varieties, if you do a cross pollination, you will be able to get better varieties and so on. So when we are doing that on purpose, it is called artificial pollination. Okay, so it is also called artificial crossing. Okay, it's also called artificial crossing. So you will cross two plants, that's what we say, we crossed the two plants. It is commonly used by the plant breeders and scientists to make the new varieties. So even in your coming next year chapter also on genetics, you will study a more detailed about this one. It is a very important process, this artificial pollination, in which new varieties can be made. So what we will be doing, we remove the anthers of the young flowers. The removal of the anthers is called the emasculation. So by this process what is going to happen, that particular flower no more able to produce the pollen, and what we are going to do is cover these flowers with a plastic bag. So this cover the flower with a plastic bag, that is called a bagging. Okay, so whenever you want to do the pollination, specific variety of the pollen you will bring, and using some fine brush or something you can dust on that one. Okay, so now what has happened is the flower, okay, suppose it is having both the style and stigma. Okay, it is a complete flower. So what we have done, we cut it, this anthers we have cut it, we removed that one. So that is what we say emasculation. So only thing remaining is the female reproductive structure. So now what we did, we put one polythene bag on this one, close it, and then when the other variety, that flower pollen is ready, we'll bring that one, remove this bag, dust this pollen on this stigma and close the bag again. So you know very specifically what variety of pollen you bought, and you have done the what we say artificial crossing or artificial pollination. So this is how it is being done. Okay. Next we will see some examples of pollination. This particular figure that is given in 5.4, the floral parts of sweet pea, is very important. It is also repeating question. Okay. So first one, insect pollinated sweet pea. Okay. Now if you look at the structure of the flower, 5.4, how many petals are there in this flower?
So three petals.
4 petals.
So three petals and a sepal.
Okay, 3 petals. So 1, 2, 3. Are you able to count on this one? This. So if you look at the labeling, there is a standard petal, okay, which is very large. There are 2 wing petals and there is a keel petal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 petals. In which wing petal is in a pair. Okay, look like some kind of wings. The standard petal is large. It is almost enclosing more than 60-70% of the flower. And there is a keel petal. Okay, we will see. This sweet pea is a insect pollinated flower. Because it has to attract the insect, it is having colorful petals. So that's what we say, it is a conspicuous corolla. Corolla means petal. It is a conspicuous, okay, conspicuous or conspicuous, okay, doesn't matter. So conspicuous corolla, that is, it is very clearly visible. So something is very clearly visible, it is very clear, that's what we say is the conspicuous. Now the bee, it thrusts its long tongue in search of nectar, and in the struggle the wing petals of the lower flower are depressed. The wing petals along with the keel petal are forced down, and the stamen and stigma will touch the underside body of the insect. So basically you don't always get the chance to observe the bees, okay, the honeybees, and so because most of us are very afraid of the honeybees. So if ever it happens, if you observe carefully, the behind side, the honeybee or other insects also which are doing this pollination, you will see that they are covered with a fine dust of pollen. Generally yellow powder kind of thing will be there in their body. Now the success of this plant, okay, depends upon, of this flower, depends upon how much pollen this insect is going to get on its body. So it has to design itself in such a way that without its knowledge, because the insect is not interested in the pollen, it is only interested in the nectar, the sweet nectar it is interested. So the flower is designed in such a way that the insect will try to reach for the nectar, and at the same time it will brush against the pollen, therefore its body will be covered in the pollen. Now that's what, how this mechanism is going on, that's what is described here. Okay, there is the wing petal and keel petal, they will go down, okay, forced down, then the stamens and stigma will touch the underside of the insect. If this insect has already visited another flower, it will have some pollen on its body already, so it will touch the stigma of this new flower and will do the pollination. So similarly it will again fly to another flower, it will carry the pollen from this flower to another one. This is what we are telling, cross pollination is taking place. Okay, but also the insect can also go from one flower of the same plant to another flower of the same plant. So that will be what we say, what kind of gamy? between two flowers of the same plant? Is it autogamy? You have to revise the terms, no? You have to revise. Okay, so today what you do is you revise the till now whatever we have covered. Today whatever we'll be covering till there, this chapter you revise. It is called the geitonogamy. Autogamy means within the same flower. Geitonogamy means different flowers of the same plant. Okay. So next you observe the flower part E, that is the androecium. Figure 5.4, all of you. Don't just sit with your mobile, open your textbook, okay, and look at this, page number 42. Page number 42, figure 5.4. I will ask randomly. Shivanshu, 42. Shivanshu, rule number 42. Are you getting my voice? Saurabh Bharadwaj, 38.
Yes, sir.
So you are able to see the figure 5.4. In this one,
Yes, sir.
you see the label number E. Okay. So here you are able to see that which structure is shown here.
The flower with petals removed.
I am telling E, labeling E. A, B, C, D, E. Already petals, corolla we have covered, right? After that A, B, C, D, E. The E one, what is shown? Which wall of the flower is shown here? Is it calyx, it is corolla, androecium or gynoecium? Look carefully. What is given there in the labels?
It is.
You can read out, no? Whatever is labeled in that number E.
So there is stigma, style, stamens, staminal tube.
Okay.
Tree stamen and
So what you are seeing here is that stigma and style both are shown. That means what? Is it only male reproductive or only female reproductive? Androecium, gynoecium or both?
both.
Both are there. Okay. So both are shown. Okay. Next, Rishi Raghav, 31. Rishi Raghav, 31. You are getting my voice? Okay, but your voice is not coming through. You are only going to type. Okay. Anyway, you tell me that in this particular one, what you will describe the nature of the androecium? What type of example it is? Androecium. Is it polyandrous or gamoandrous? Okay. Sakshi, 35.
Yes, sir.
Can you answer whether which type of androecium this is? Is it a polyandrous or is it something else?
Sir, it is polyandrous, I think.
Okay, polyandrous means the stamens, they will be free or they will be fused. Poly.
So they will be fused.
That's not correct.
So then free.
They will be free. Poly means different. Poly, free. Okay. Gamo means fused, but here it is no gamo. Next, Harshraj, 19. Can you answer? How do you describe this one? You see, there are the how many groups of stamens are there? Harshraj, 19. How many group of stamens are there here? Bundles of stamens. Harsh Kumar Singh, number 18.
Yes, sir.
Do you think there is one bundle of stamen or more than one bundle of stamen?
Sir, one is free
Ah.
and some other are joined.
Are joined. So
Sir,
therefore,
it is
two bundles are there. So when like this, two bundles of stamens are there, what it is called?
didelphus. Delphus.
Diadelphus. Diadelphus. Group
Yes,
of
sir.
brothers, adelphus. Okay, so diadelphus. So there are two bundles of the stamens. It is a diadelphus. So you have to describe this flower using those terms. How many bundles are diadelphus? Therefore, pea plant is a diadelphus. Okay, and whether the petals are fused or free? They are free, no? They can be separated, no?
Yes, sir.
They can be separated. They are free. So therefore, they are what kind of petalous?
Polypetalous.
Polypetalous. Here sepals, you look at the sepals, are they free or fused?
Sir, they are free.
They are free. So therefore, it is
Polysepalous.
polysepalous. Okay. In this way, you should be able to utilize whatever you studied till now. When we are describing the flower, we will use those terms to describe it. Okay. Just like when we study about the human anatomy, we talk about the parts of the body. Okay. Then we have specific name. Okay. Specific technical names will be there. Okay. Just the nose is there. Okay. The nose itself is, we say in general talking terms, nose. But when we go into anatomy, different bone is there in that one, bone, cartilage, we use different terms. Okay, so that's the same way, we cannot have a confusion when we are using the scientific language. That is why we have specific terms. You have to memorize that. It is part of your syllabus. Okay, in the next class we will continue with this example of the wind pollinated maize. It seems to be very simple. Okay, just one diagram is there and hardly 10 sentences are there, but this question always repeat every year. Most of the students are always confused, I don't know why, but we will pay concentration, and after that we will do this fertilization part. Okay, fertilization of the flower. After completion of the pollination, the next stage is the fertilization. Okay, so let me take the attendance. Any doubts you have in between, you can ask. Okay, please revise today's one. I will ask in the next class. Okay, you have to be up to date.